Do you remember how awkward and confusing sex education was in school? So many of us had a terrible time comprehending the information, and looking back, we can definitely see that we were not prepared for what we were eventually getting ourselves into. Personally, I lacked the knowledge about how contraceptives worked and their side effects. The knowledge that is being given and retained by young students in sex education classes is simply not as effective as it could be, and a change needs to happen in order to improve society. The problem with abstinence only education is that it does not improve, it prepares students for the future, and whereas comprehensive sex education talks about all aspects of conception, STDs, and even relationships. Why is abstinence only education not fully effective, you ask? The problem with abstinence only education is that it doesn't include all the information teens need in order to be educated. Lauren Lindenberg, review co-author and Guttmacher principal research scientist, states that the problem, the programs are problematic because they do not provide the information and important knowledge regarding sexual health. Abstinence-only education also assumes that everyone's going to wait until marriage as prevention and skips over the use of condoms and contraceptives. Um, Is there another form of sex education, you ask? Yes, there is. The other form of sex education is comprehensive sex education. Comprehensive sex education highlights pregnancy prevention with condoms and contraceptives while also showing students how to handle relationships and find themselves in such a transitioning time. The number of teen pregnancies has seen a significant decrease. The use of contraceptives is also taught to students, and there is also more of a focus on relationships. There is also given knowledge about how religion is included in sexual expression. As we can see, there's a significant difference in the effectiveness of abstinence-only education and comprehensive education. According to the UCS Department of Nursing, even though the U.S. falls behind other industrial nations in preventing teen births, its teen pregnancy rates hit an all-time low in 2016, a decade-long trend that has been attributed by many studies in increased education about contraception in public schools. There are also proven studies to show how comprehensive sex education decreases teen pregnancy rates. Comprehensive sex education compared to abstinence-only sex education is such a big difference, and there definitely needs to be a switch over. This change in education is made by the state and is not controlled by the towering government. So each state is different, and they can choose what kind of sex education they have in their state. For instance, Colorado has implemented the Colorado has implemented comprehensive sex education in their schools, and they by far have one of the lowest teen pregnancies since, which is a really good thing. Abstinence only also uses scare tactics to prevent contraception and to prevent pregnancy, which is not effective. The information that is given on STDs is also stretched and implies that they are included in sexual interactions before marriage. In 2018, the HHS gynecologist stated that sexual experience among U.S. high school students has remained at a 46 to 47% from 2001 to 2005. This is because comprehensive sex education covers all aspects of sexual education, which is more effective than hiding information or exaggerating, which is what happens when in abstinence-only education. There are so many different factors that play into changing education for the good of society and why we need to do it. Comprehensive sex education is far more effective than abstinence only because comprehensive sex education includes information regarding STDs, contraceptives, relationships, and self-realization. As we can see, sex education needs an update. Abstinence-only education leaves out important information regarding STDs, contraceptives that teens need to learn about. Comprehensive sex education also takes care of this lack of spread knowledge. This form of education includes how to deal with relationship and highlights the truth about STDs and using contraceptives. Whenever we don't educate teens about contraceptives and STDs to the full extent that we can, it causes issues and it causes a gap of information that is lost because you cannot assume that everybody is going to wait until marriage to have sex because that's just simply not how our society works. And that is the problem with abstinence only. It lacks information, and the problem with that as well is because even if you wait until marriage to have sex, you will still have this lack of information that you will need to find out on your own from either experiences or even the internet or from other people, which also can be an issue because people can spread false knowledge. So next time you learn new information regarding sex education, and you didn't know it already, just remember that you might not know it just because of the education you were taught in school and the lack of knowledge that you were taught. Because just simply because abstinence-only education only goes so far, and it does not really set you up for what sex is really like. And regarding STDs, contraceptives, and even birth control, is not necessarily just for preventing sex education. It is also plays a role into women's health, and that is definitely something that needs to be taught, especially to young women and even young men, because young men are going to be either dealing with young women or other men maybe. But yes, so next time that you wonder why you lack this information, it may simply just be because in schools there needs to be an update, and we can definitely make that change happen.